Greetings, blessings, and good fortune, everybody. Glad to be here again on a great Thursday. Awesome that you could make it. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, and you may hear a little bit of sound in the background. I'm going to call it sound because I won't call it noise. We're here on 97.7 FM KCYP, the city, out of McAllen, Texas, and we are broadcasting from the McAllen Creative Incubator. Now, as you can imagine, if you're getting creative in McAllen, you might do many different things. Some of them are radio, like we do, okay? We have Renee on the soundboard today, doing a great job, right? We have us here broadcasting, and in the middle, I guess you call it the middle, I'll call it, of the McAllen Creative Incubator, they have young people that learn how to play music, in this case, rock and roll, right? So they're always tuning up next to us, and yeah, we can hear them somewhat, but I guess they're having some sort of a holiday show right now, and you might hear that bleed over, but it's all in good. It's all good fun. It's all in good stuff because they're learning how to play music, and these are, some of them are little kids, and they're doing pretty good. So what I'd like to talk about today is other things. There are other things that are doing good, okay? And what is doing good? Gold, silver, Bitcoin. Okay. Now, our retirement accounts, they might not be doing so well. So let me get in here, get into the feed so that I can grab the comments as they come in. So we'll see who's out there. Don't have anybody on the screen yet. Matt, good to see you, Matt. Glad you can make it. We got some interesting stuff today. Throw some stuff at us, and if we're missing some important stuff. For now, I'm going to go over some important stuff. Right? We have gold. It's at $2,047 an ounce. It's fairly high, considering. Silver, $24.40. Right? Average mortgage rate. 30-year rate is 7.42. It's actually coming down, ladies and gents. And let me talk about this in a minute. But the 15-year rate is at 6.69%, right? And, of course, the one we all love, Bitcoin, $43,000 for a Bitcoin out there today. I won't be able to afford one, but maybe you can. Anyway, let me talk about these mortgage rates real quick. From what I understand, and I'm not a financial advisor, as you can see, I lack the tie for that and or suit. And I guess you could call it the schmaltz. I don't have my schmaltz doesn't have any financial advisor in it. So don't take my advice, but just know that there are smart people out there talking about these interest rates. So the interest rates, as you can imagine, and as you've seen, are very high. They're affecting, home ownership. They're affecting all kinds of different things in our economy. Money is harder to come by. So therefore, it's harder to see businesses thrive, et cetera, right? Now, what I'm being led to understand is that in this falling economy, as we all know it is, even though on the TV, Grandpa Mushmouth and his minions will tell us that the economy is fine. Well, we know it's not. So in this falling economy, what happens according to trends, right? So we have people out there that are looking at trends, that are looking at patterns, and so forth. So the pattern is that the Federal Reserve, those rats, yes, they are rats. The Federal Reserve, after having done, I don't know if we could call it irreparable damage, but it's a big golpe to the economy, a huge blow to the economy, what they've been doing, multiple blows, right? So, thanks, Matt. You're appreciating the shirt. I like it. Yeah, I'm missing the hat from Caddyshack, but it looks good on you. Anyway, what they do in these cycles, I guess you could call them, is right after they have reached the tipping point where they know that they really they crashed this economy. People like us don't know it yet because we're the last to know. Well, ideally for them, we are the last to know. So what they'll do is they'll start scaling back on the interest rate so that when the economy crashes in such a way that you and I are well and truly screwed, okay, they will have brought the interest rates down and escaped culpability. In their minds, they're going to say it wasn't our fault because we lowered the rates. So what do we see now? We see a lowering of the rates. So keep an eye on that. Let me know if you see anything, how would you say, that would alert someone like you or I to the fact that, hey, maybe they're employing this strategy, because we don't know. We don't know when this is going to happen. We just know it's going to happen. Obviously, they're not crashing the economy for our benefit. They want to come in, scoop up all the assets, take off with them. Now, if we can keep some powder dry, if we can keep some savings, which is increasingly difficult for the average American, by the way, keeping savings is increasingly difficult for any of us, okay? But if we can somehow manage to do that, we can get bargains, okay? Those of us that see this coming, okay, that don't blow it off and say, oh, no, we're going to be fine. We got checks and balances. We got this, we got that. Those of us that don't trust the Federal Reserve and the government that it owns, okay, that's what I'd like to say about that. So there you have it on the interest rates. A little bit of crypto news. CoinDesk comes out with this, okay? And thank you, Jim, for letting me know. Jim O'Rourke let me know. Sue, good to see you. Eddie, glad to see you watching. So yeah, Jim O'Rourke sent me this. It's from CoinDesk. U.S. CFTC. CFTC is Commodities Financing Trade Commission, something like that. But it's about commodities, right? So it approves a Bitcoin futures platform, and it's called Bitnomial. It's a derivatives thing. And we all know from 2008 what derivatives can do to any financial system, right? So they put an application in, and I guess it cleared. So what they want to do is they want to have Bitcoin futures. What does that mean? It means that you can invest in Bitcoin without actually holding Bitcoin. It also means that you invest with leverage, meaning you put, for an easy example, you put $100 down, but you control $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. You can do this in the commodities markets, okay? The question that I have is, how long is it until the usual suspects use this commodity clearinghouse to manipulate the price of Bitcoin the way they have manipulated the price of gold and silver? Because they come in with big money, they sell what are called short contracts, right? So they sell contracts or short options. They sell them so that on this marketplace, the price of gold and silver, or on this one would be Bitcoin, but in the regular marketplace, the regular commodity marketplaces, the prices of gold and silver are suppressed by the fact that so many people in the minds of the market, right? Because it's just an algorithm. So many people are selling gold and silver that means the price must go down. Then when the same usual suspects list the spot price that an individual can actually buy gold and silver at, okay, they use these manipulated markets to determine that spot price. So it's only a matter of time till they try the same thing with Bitcoin. Now, what I'm hoping is that Bitcoin is 1, decentralized completely, 2, international, 3, nobody knows where to find the guy who owns it. In fact, you're the guy that owns it. I'm the guy that owns it. They're not going to control me. They're not going to control you. So how is it that they control the Bitcoin? They can't. They can't, and that's why they hate it. That's why they hate Bitcoin. So let's keep our eyes on this Bitnomial derivatives clearinghouse, okay? We'll see what they do, want to do, try to do. We'll see. Bitcoin.com says Ledger Connect kit breach. Okay, now let me go through this real quick. Gonna have a cup of Java here with my favorite crypto Theta token and T-Fuel. Email me at bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com if you want to learn about these kind of things. Again, I don't push anything on anybody. Just letting you know they're out there and there's some opportunities there. So when I tell people about cryptos, the first thing that I want them to know is that you never leave your cryptos on the exchange. So let's say, and let me bring this to a place where people are comfortable, a brokerage firm. There are people out there who just pay money so that a brokerage firm can manage their funds. Do you think that a broker, do you think that a brokerage firm, do you think that a banker, do you think that anyone cares more about your money than you do? If you do, I've probably got a bridge to sell you, and we'll talk offline. But I doubt you do. Nobody cares more about your money than you do. So when you're in cryptos, you don't trust an exchange for many different reasons. You don't trust an exchange with your crypto. Why? Okay, hacks. You've got phishing expeditions with the PH phishing kind, right? You have, let's say, government regulations say that you can no longer do cryptos in this country or that country, and they freeze the assets of that exchange. They're freezing your assets. You may never get them back. So you bring them back into your custody using what's called a cold wallet. And the two I've always recommended are Ledger and Trezor. And you make the choice. You do your own research and you figure it out. Well, come to find out, Ledger has had a breach. Okay, so this hacker, this rat, and I'd like to say other things, but we're on the air. We're live. So we have this guy with $484,000 in crypto so far. So Ledger's fixed it. I don't want this to be a hit piece on Ledger. They fixed it. And apparently, let me read you from the article real quick. The unknown attacker that compromised Ledger's Connect Kit library has reportedly siphoned $484,000 from wallets, according to the on-chain intelligence firm Look On-Chain. Makes sense, right? Ledger disclosed a former employee fell victim to a phishing PH attack, and the attacker gained access to the Ledger Connect Kit library and uploaded a malicious bug. Well, that's what malicious people do. They upload a malicious bug. So, regardless, be careful what you're doing, and I will bet you that whoever did grab that crypto off of somebody's ledger, here's what they'll do. They'll want to get those all important things. And what are those all important things? The keys. So it's a password that usually is 12 to 24 words long. And you set this when you buy your wallet. You bring it in, you buy it, you get it in the mail. You bring it in and then you go through the steps. And part of that is establishing a code word system, a series of them. And those are called your keys. So once you have those keys, you're the bank. You own that device, you own everything on that device, and you are responsible ultimately, because if you lose those keys, it's done. You can't get it back, okay? Now, that said, I would imagine that this guy somehow figured out a way to sucker these people into giving up their code keys, okay? My opinion. So, I'm not saying Ledger is unsafe. I'm just saying that it can happen. Be careful, okay? Be careful. Do not ever give that key code out. No one from Ledger, from Trezor, from your exchange, and no one is going to ask you, legitimately anyway, for your keys. So don't give them out. Don't ever give them out. Bottom line. Now, this guy, Mr. Robert Kiyosaki, you may know him as the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I do. And it was a great book. I read some of it. I got to admit, I didn't. Full disclosure, I didn't read it all. That said, this is him on X. Rich Dad, Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki has warned that the biggest crash in history may be starting. Now, you know that I like to discuss the fact that we can gain money. We can gain a position economically by making sure that we have a little bit of dry powder. We have a little bit of money left when they crash this system, right? So now you get to hear the same kind of thing, but from a smart guy, this Kiyosaki guy. So he says, Sue says, yeah, don't lose the keys. Sue lost the keys. Unfortunately, thank God there wasn't a lot on that particular wallet, but she lost the keys. Yeah, Sue, don't lose the keys. Oh, by the way, if you guys can please let me know in the comments if the sound, the music from out there is drowning me out, or it's making your listening experience not such a good experience. Just let me know. Okay, so Mr. Kiyosaki emphasized that the U.S. banking system is bankrupt, and he warned that the S&P 500 will be next to collapse, which will toast millions of U.S. retirement plans. Okay, so he goes on. This will be the last one in this article here. There's no time to play Russian roulette with your life, he stressed. So, in the long and short of it is, he recommends gold, silver, Bitcoin. Gee, I wonder who else recommends that stuff. Anyway, it'll come to me. So he recommends, oh yeah, so Sue says 2 years later. 2 years later, she found the keys, thank God. But he recommends, Mr. Kiyosaki does, recommends gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Now, I also do. Here's the thing. Not only do I recommend gold, silver, and Bitcoin, if you have enough money, one of the best things you could do is land. Land will never go to zero. Neither will the others, I don't believe. But you can't live on an ounce of gold. It's a very small coin. I'm not able to, even curl up on that. So you can live on land if it's yours. You live there. Worst case scenario, you live there. So most of us, though, like myself, I don't have enough for land. So I like gold, silver, Bitcoin, especially silver and Bitcoin because, well, they're cheap comparatively. Not that Bitcoin's cheap, but you can buy a little bit at a time. So think about that. Now, in the news again, and let me recap real quick as the pro, Joe Martinez, has taught me. We started talking out about as we do interest rates, and they're coming down, and well, that could be a sign of imminent financial disaster. Perhaps not. We don't know. Do your life. Don't live in fear. Okay, be prepared, not scared. Then we discussed. It was Bitcoin.com, the ledger breach. Discuss that. Now, here's what I want to talk about. Donald Trump. Okay, we all know that he's under heat now. The bad guys really, really hate Donald Trump. And there's even a lot of good people out there that hate Donald Trump. Why? Because they're told to hate Donald Trump. They are very, very well educated, probably 3-4 degrees of institutionalization, bachelors. You go on and on. Institutionalization, very strong. Very strong. The force is strong in them and not the good one. But anyway, they have watched a lot of news, and there is no good news on the news about Donald Trump. That's why we don't really watch news. Very biased, very biased. So, Tammy, good to see you. So, Benny Johnson on X posted, Donald Trump Jr. sat for a 9-hour closed-door deposition with Adam Schiff. Shifty Schiff. I have no love for that man. And I think he's done some horrible, terrible, horrendous things. And to the most innocent of victims, if you know what I mean. Eric Trump sat for 6 hours, but Hunter Biden refuses to do the same, and Democrats defend this. Now, I'm not defending Republicans by any means. Please don't get that idea. But in this case, Democrats are defending the fact that Hunter Biden decided he didn't want to sit for a deposition. He didn't want to, so, well, he doesn't have to. Why? Well, because his daddy is the big guy. This is why we call it a two-tiered justice system, or a system of justice. Exactly. It is a two-tiered system of justice. There is absolutely no fairness for you and I. However, if you are hooked up in the cabal, or you are one of their minions, a guy like Hunter, why does he have to sit in front of a closed-door deposition in that scenario for 9 hours like Donald Trump Jr. did? He's the son of a president, is Hunter, but his dad's the big guy. Don't you get it? Man. So, I want to speak a little bit about this thing called precedent. Now, a lot of people think, yeah, Donald Trump, he's getting a raw deal. This Donald Trump guy, they're messing with him in many different ways. They're trying to get him off the ballot, which is true. I mean, I'm not denying any of this stuff. Okay, I'm really not. I'm not even going to attempt a denial of any of that stuff. It's true. But what I would like to posit, okay, Tim, good to see you. What I would like to posit, and I truly believe, is that in this grand scheme of things, okay, what is being staged, what is being presented and framed is a little term called precedent. Well, what are you talking about, Otter? Let me tell you what I'm talking about. We have a guy in Donald Trump who was president of the United States. Some people believe he still is. Anyway, these are some of the things that have occurred to him. And he has been pilloried. I love that word. He has been absolutely pilloried with assaults, legal assaults, vicious assaults, pejorative assaults, all of that. He's been pilloried with this stuff, pummeled and assaulted with all this stuff. Some people think he deserves it. Whatever. You can think that, but stop watching news. Now, what this does, okay, is it sets precedent, ladies and gentlemen. And he has submitted himself for this abuse. This is what people don't understand. He knows the shot. He talks loud, he's boisterous, he's rude sometimes. And a lot of people like to, go along with the popular trope that he's not intelligent. And you can think that way, but I think that you're choosing to be not intelligent when you think that way. So he knows what's going on. He has submitted himself for this abuse, and he will come out on top. What he is doing and how this is working out, okay, is setting precedent. How? How is that setting precedent, Otter? Let me tell you. Regarding classified docs, a president, and this is lawful, a president can look at a stack of documents over there. Let's say, imagine my over there has a stack of classified documents. And as president, if I were so, and I know no one would vote for me, but I could say to those stack of documents, you are unclassified. Those documents are unclassified, declassified, in the status now of unclassified documents, because I just now declassified them as a president. That's no lie. Any president can do that, okay? But in the witch hunt of the communists against Donald Trump, they have set precedent, okay, that a president cannot do this. Now, you might think, well, yeah, but they screwed Donald Trump because they got the evidence. Yes, they did get a lot of evidence, but all that evidence ever does is prove the innocence of Donald Trump. It has never put him in jail because it's not jailable offense, because it wasn't an offense. The more you dig into this guy's life, the squeakier he becomes as far as cleanliness. People don't understand that because it's never posited. It's never framed in that light in the mainstream media. Never will they ever say this. But that is the end result of this continual digging into the background of Donald J. Trump. He shows up again and again clean. So he is the cleanest government employee, the cleanest public servant out there, because they don't stop investigating him. Now, on this investigation, we just talked about classified docs. So they set the precedent that presidents cannot declassify, or if they can still be dug into, and he can be accused of that act or the failure to declassify before bringing into their own possession classified documents. So what have they also set a precedent for? Indictments. Oh, man, you can indict a sitting president. You can indict a presidential candidate running for office. You can indict a former president. You can do all this to presidents of the United States. Gee, I wonder when that might come in handy. Bush, Obama, Biden. Presidential preference regarding tax documents of the president. They went into this guy's tax documents. And here's how we know that the Donald is setting this up, setting these buffoons up. Here's how we know. KK, good to see you. Here's how we know that Donald Trump is setting these people up for a great, great fall. Donald Trump forced the issue of his tax documents. He could have released them. When they demanded his tax documents, he's been more than cordial with his information, his history, his background. More than cordial with much information, but he stuck firm on his tax documents. Why did he do that? I maintain that he was in the process of getting it cleared through all of the formal stages, including the Supreme Court of the United States of America, these legal stages, okay, before something becomes a legal precedent. If you're noticing I'm using this term often, then you're picking up on this. So what did Donald Trump set as a precedent with his tax documents? He set the precedent that any president can be inspected, sifted, examined, and investigated deeply into their tax information, their history, their tax history. Okay? So since a president, and we're talking about Donald Trump, has been inspected all the way down to that level, okay, going way back to his tax records, since a president can legally, and the Supreme Court of America signed off on this, ladies and gentlemen, since a president of the United States, a former president of the United States, okay, because all these things have been done, a candidate running for president of the United States, all these things now are fair game. Any of these individuals can now be forced to show their tax documents, okay? And here's the kicker. The lack of tax documents. Wow. If you're an average politician in the United States, you're worth millions. You're worth millions of dollars. If you're a swamp creature, you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars on a $200,000 a year salary. How does that happen? Well, I'll tell you what. Through the term and through the concept of precedent, Donald Trump has now made it so that any politician up to and including the President of the United States can have their tax returns dug into. Are you starting to get it, ladies and gentlemen? Are you starting to understand the sophistry behind Donald Trump and the people that are behind him? Because don't think Donald Trump, is a free agent. Don't think he's a maverick in any stretch of the imagination, in any form of that term. I believe, and if you want to know more about it and why I do believe this, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. Send me an email. I'll get into it, give you source material, all that good stuff. I believe that Donald Trump was recruited by very important people in military, in intelligence, in many different agencies, maybe not many different people, but a wide range of agencies, a wide range of, I guess you could say, authorities throughout the spectrum of important informational hubs, let's say. So he is now setting these precedents, and I'm not done. No. These are not the only precedents that have been set by this guy, this Donald Trump guy, who is a sacrificial lamb, if you will, okay, because he's putting himself out there. He's putting his career. You think he needs that $400,000 or whatever? In fact, the last time when he was serving, he didn't even take a salary. He didn't need it, of course. He doesn't need this headache. Why is he doing this? He loves his country. If more of us love the United States of America the way this guy loves the United States of America, our country wouldn't be in the shape it is right now. We would have stood up and done what we had to do. Hey, Pepe, good to see you. We would have done what we had to do legally, vociferously, but legally, within the confines of the rule of law. That's who we are. We are citizens of a great country that should obey the rule of law and hold it high as the code of conduct for all of us, as does Donald Trump. So, presidential, we already said this. This is another precedent that presidential children must sit for depositions. Now, we know that there's a two-tiered system going on right now because, well, Hunter Biden, he didn't have to sit for nothing. He just went in front of a bunch of microphones and said, hey, what do you guys want to talk about? Do you think that thing was him being brave, getting in front of the press? You know, you think that's brave? You try sitting down for 9 hours like, Trump Jr., Donald Trump Jr. did. Did you know that investigators, and I want everybody to know this, and I think many of our watchers and listeners already know this. Do you know that investigators can lie to you while they're investigating you? Did you know that? That's completely legal. Completely part of their repertoire, as it were. Completely part of their toolbox is a sack of lies. They can throw those lies at you like sandbags, man. They can throw those lies at you like rocks. Doesn't matter. Doesn't hurt their case, not one bit. But you're under oath. You can't lie. You can't even give them a whiff of you lying. Why? There's a term out there, and it's well used, and some believe it's abused, okay? And we won't even get into that. Okay? But presidential children must sit for depositions, according to one tier of the two-tiered system. So Donald Trump's children, okay? Children had to sit through depositions. But the guy who used Chinese money for hookahs and crack, lovely. He had to have a lovely time. He had to have a blast. I mean, Hunter, he probably had a blast with that money. But it was crooked money. He didn't have to sit in front of a deposition. He didn't have to sit in front of these investigators, okay, that grill people, okay, trying to do, don't get me wrong, investigators do a very important role. They do, okay, but the investigator that Donald Trump Jr. had to sit in front of is a guy by the name of Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff. A little bit of homework for you, ladies and gentlemen. Put this into your search bar, if you will. Adam Schiff, the Standard Hotel. That's all I'll say. We're on Facebook and YouTube, okay? These are mainstream. Matt works for the FBI. Oh, you better believe it works for the FBI. They got it wired, okay? They got it wired. So let me get. I backtracked on it. I'm going to go there, okay? So when the investigators lie to you and they get you to bring out things that you either you're not sure of, or just you're trying to get them to go away. You want to leave, right? You got to go to the bathroom, whatever it is. You want to leave. You're under the grill. You're under the light. Let's say if they even have an intimation, they even just believe, or they really want to get you. There's a term out there. It's called lack of candor. Okay? So if they even get a whiff of you lying, they can use this term, especially, ladies and gents, in administrative proceedings. If you're under a criminal proceeding, it's different because you have rights. Under administrative proceedings, you have zero rights. 0.000 rights. So if an investigator takes umbrage at anything you say or who you are, let's say they're a communist and you're not, well, they can label you with a term called lack of candor. And then they can determine that you will either lose your job, you'll lose your position, you'll be censured, whatever the case may be, based on what they consider to be a lack of candor. This has absolutely no due process. This procedure has nothing of the nature, but these people have power. In some cases, they have authority. But they definitely have power, like this Adam Schiff stooge had power for 9 hours over a president's son. But Hunter Biden never put himself under that power, never put himself under authority because he's above the law. Oh, you don't believe me? You don't believe me that Hunter Biden is above the law? Let me ask you this. Everybody says that even up to and including Jimmy Hoffa. What did he get nailed on? RICO charges. Why? Taxes. Okay? We now know that the Biden crime family have 20, at least, that we know of. 20 shell companies that produce nothing. They only receive money. Chinese money. 20. You don't believe me? Look it up. Do your research. Right? We know this is the case. We know this is a fact. How many dollars of that money do you think they paid in taxes? Ooh. Is the IRS on them? They might be on you or me, but they're not on them because they're above that authority. Do you get what I'm saying now? Are you jiving? Are you starting to learn now what this two-tiered justice system is all about? There's rules for you and me, and there's rules for them. Okay? You and I, we got to dot our I's and cross our T's, man. We got to make sure our tax returns are great. Hunter Biden? Not so much. Not so much. How do you pay taxes on crack and hookers? I don't know. I've not done it, so I don't know. I don't think there's, like a form, a waiver even that you, but he's got a waiver. We know that he's got a waiver. He's got a waiver from depositions too, because he doesn't have to sit down for them. He can just stand in front of microphones, in front of fake news, and say whatever he wants and say, oh, yeah, whatever questions you have. Okay? And then he walks away like, if he doesn't feel like answering, he walks away. You try doing that in a deposition. Chihuahuas. Kathy, glad to see you. Glad to see you're watching. So these are the precedents that he said. Let me go over these real quick. Classified documents, indictments, tax records, sitting for depositions. These are all precedents that have been set, okay? And here's where I'm really wanting to get. This week and today, and I don't know if you know any more about this than I do, because I work nights and I woke up and I did the show. So maybe something broke today that I didn't find. Right now, that guy who has lost just about every Supreme Court case he's ever brought to it, Jack Smith, okay? This Jack has skipped what's called, I mean, I'm not, as you can see, I'm not a lawyer, okay? But the appellate courts, right? The Court of Appeals, this is a process. This is a system. He has skipped that system, has Jack Smith. And he's gone straight to the Supreme Court because he wants to determine whether or not presidents have immunity over prosecution, from prosecution. Yeah, he's going there. He's going there. Okay, and you got these idiots in the regular the fake news. And I want to read you this. I just saw this as it was coming up to the show. Let me read you this real quick. This is out of the Los Angeles Times. You know they're slime, right? The New York Slimes and the Los Angeles Slimes, right? But listen to this. This is, ladies and gentlemen, if you know who Judge Tanya Chutkan is, she has been basically an obstructionist of justice the whole time that they've been on this witch hunt with Donald Trump. Now, listen to what the LA Times says about this. So this is going on about this immunity thing that Smith is taking. So Smith won the immunity question in the trial court. That was Judge Tanya Chutkan's court, right? And this is what the LA Times says about Judge Chutkan. That she, listen to this verbiage, meticulously analyzed the relevant text, history, and structure of the Constitution before rejecting Trump's claim of absolute immunity from prosecution in his conduct as president. Ladies and gentlemen, Judge Tanya Chutkan wouldn't recognize the Constitution if it was tattooed on an elephant's tuchus and was in her bedroom. The Constitution is a foreign document to people like her. We have literal activists on the benches. I would go so far, and this is me, I'm not trying to drag anybody else into my jackpot here. I believe that this goes way back. I believe personally that there was a guy out there named Joseph McCarthy. Some of you may know him. Maybe that might ring a bell with you. Okay? You know what I affectionately call Senator Joseph McCarthy? St. Joseph of Wisconsin. Yeah. Why? Why do I say that? Why do I say St. Joseph of Wisconsin? Because he was right. There was a commie behind every tree. And now it's bubbled to the surface, ladies and gentlemen. Are we going to do anything about it? Are we going to fight back? And I'm not talking about an insurrection. We don't need an insurrection. We don't need a revolution. Ladies and gentlemen, we need a reformation. The founding documents, the basis, the foundation of our nation is good. The founding documents are the most solid founding documents in the world, in the literal in the world. The only ones the only one that superseded it was Israel of the Bible, not the current Israel. Oh no, the Israel of the Bible was based on the rule of God. Okay, our founding fathers used that in the formation of our founding documents. It is solid. We do not need a revolution. That does not need to be overthrown, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let anybody suck you into that black hole of revolution. We are not revolutionaries, ladies and gentlemen. That was done in 1776. We need to reform our nation. We need to reform ourselves. We need to reform our conduct. We need to reform our words. We need to reform our stance as Americans so that we can go forward and show our kids Scott, nice to see you. Show our kids what it is to be an American. Because I'll tell you what, laying on the couch, playing video games, how are we promoting our country and the values for which it stands while we're doing these things? And I'm as guilty as anybody else, everybody. I'm as guilty as everybody else. I can lose a few pounds. I'm as guilty as anybody else. Okay? I'm not saying that I'm this saint, Joseph McCarthy, St. Joseph of Wisconsin. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that we need to change things around, and we need to do it through the legal structure, which our leader, Donald Trump, the guy who wants to make America great again, he doesn't want to overthrow it. He just wants to make it great again. Okay? We need to follow the legal process of making our country great once again. And then we're getting there. We're getting there. So this Yahoo, Jack Smith, is making a bid to the Supreme Court to have presidential immunity scratched. Now, this is what I'm saying with this whole precedent thing. If he does this, it is not a woe is me situation. Woe to America. No. Think about the precedent that he's setting there. If the Supreme Court of the United States determines that presidential immunity is no longer real, is no longer tangible, what happens when patriots get back in office? What happens when patriots, the people, we the people, what happens when we the people gain control again? What happens then? We get our country back. And all those ex-presidents, Bush, that Bush, 9/11, can anybody say that? Bush will be examined. Obama examined. Biden examined. Okay? They're not above anything. Why? Because Donald Trump went through the flames, ladies and gentlemen. He's doing it for us. Okay? I don't worship the guy. I think you guys know that. I hope you know that. I don't worship the guy. I worship God above. Jesus Christ is my God. He's my king. I am a patriot. Interdimensional, if you will. My home is in heaven, but I have a home here that I care a lot about, and it's called the United States of America, and I am a patriot. I am a legal patriot, meaning everything we do must be legal. Everything we do must be through the rule of law. That's how we win, because God has blessed that. God has blessed that again and again. When we say God bless America, we're not just throwing those words out there. Okay, and as you know, 97.7 FM, KCYP, the city, Joe Martinez's station, okay, is a Faith in God organization, as is the Bitcoin Otter Private Membership Association. We are Faith in God. Now, you don't have to give us money. We're not asking for money, but we're just saying that we are and have established associations of like-minded people so that we can say, hey, that we have faith in God, that we're doing the right thing. Now, we're going to make mistakes. We all do. But the fact of the matter is, we do this legally. We do this on a legal precedential schedule. And that's what Donald Trump is doing. He's setting a precedent. Thank you for hanging on with me here through all that, okay? I won't say that I went off script. I meant to talk about this, but things came to mind. If you have anything you want me to talk about, please throw it in here. But what I want to do first is I want to talk about a friend of mine, Rene Reyes, and I have his permission. He's in the hospital right now, and he literally can't walk due to back issues. So he has nerve issues, and I asked him if it would be okay if I could give him a shout out on the show and ask for prayer. So many of the watchers of the show know, hey, Corinne, good to see you. Many of the watchers of the show know who Rene is, and he has asked for prayer, and we're going to come through for him. So let us definitely remember him in our prayers. And then I guess, I was just about to go, but I also want to mention, if you want to investigate a double standard like we were talking about, the two-tiered justice system, well, just look no further than higher education and the situation with the three presidents with an S, presidents of, I think it was Penn, it was Harvard, and it was one other university that refused to say, they refused, these presidents of these universities, and we're sending our kids there. Well, I can't afford that. But anyway, people send their kids to Harvard, right? And the president of Harvard, okay, who now we're finding out to get her position plagiarized, okay? So the president of Harvard said that if you speak on campus about the genocide of Jewish people, that's not necessarily hate speech. That speaking about the genocide of Jewish people is contextually investigated, meaning it has to be taken in context. You could speak about the genocide of Jewish people and, be nice about it. I guess that's her context. Okay. So again, this stuff, Dan, good to see you. This stuff, I get so passionate about this. These people, okay, are in these positions for a reason. Why? They broadcast the agenda that is coming for us all if we allow it. Okay? Hate speech is any speech that goes against the agenda the ruling class has set for us. So you can, in today's climate, you can call for the, according to these presidents, three of them. Look this up on social media. You'll see it. YouTube, you'll probably see it. Okay. This woman's name is Claudine Gay, Harvard president. She said that basically, if you call for the genocide of Jewish people at Harvard, it's not hate speech. It's a case-by-case basis, ladies and gentlemen. It's only genocide. Wow. Yeah. So then they found out that this president, she's been caught plagiarizing 5 academic papers, which amounts to nearly half of her entire scholarly output, right? And she's plagiarized the same lady. This lady's name is Swain, right? So she's not happy about it. Okay, so it has nothing to do with race. The president is black and she plagiarized from a black lady. Okay, so it has nothing to do with race. Don't let them bait you into that. Okay, it has to do with this two-tiered, this double standard. Okay, it's going to change, ladies and gentlemen. I believe it's going to change, and I believe that the things that we're going through right now will pay off in the end. A little bit of testing, a little bit of trial, okay? And it might get a little bit heated throughout 2024, okay? But we're not going to be scared. We're prepared. Why be scared when we can be prepared? God has prepared us for this time. In the book of Esther, God says through her uncle to Esther, God says to her, how do you know? How do you know you were not created for such a time as this? How do you know you were not put on this earth for such a time as this? How do we know we were not put on this earth for such a time as this? That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? I'm doing this because I'm passionate, because God has set me on fire as an interdimensional patriot. I love my home up in heaven. I'm guaranteed it by Jesus. But I really love also this country. I'm passionate about this country. And I know you are too. I don't want to beleaguer any of this. I just want you to know, no worries, Dan. No worries. So Dan says that liberalism is do as I say, not as I do. I agree, Dan, but I think you're sugarcoating things by using the term liberalism. It's communism. Ladies and gentlemen, it's communism. And if you did not know, Karl Marx was a Satanist. If you did not know, he dedicated his book in the foreword, where you do the dedication and all that, he dedicated it to Lucifer. We all know who Lucifer is, aka Satan. So that's Karl Marx. And again, St. Joseph of Wisconsin told us that there were commies behind every tree, and he was right. And things are coming home to roost. But we're better than that. We will do things legally, legal precedent, and we will win because God wins. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Renee, I'm going to cut off in a few seconds, but I just want to ask for a blessing on all of the people that are here in studio, that are there listening, be it now live or be it later. May God bless you. May God bless your families. And may God bless America. Have a great day.